the odds-on favorite to qualify out of his upper brackets. It's Cure.
And his opponent, spawning up at the top right from the Shopify Rebellion. Give it up for the captain, Harstem. And I know you're looking at it. I am too. On the mini-map, we saw 2 early SCVs going across the map. We're going to be seeing a Proxy 2 Rax. Now, this is pretty quick gas with this. This could be Proxy 2 Rax Reaper. This could theoretically be Proxy 2 Rax Marauder. I'm interested to see what this is going to be. And Harstem, he's looking around. He knows there's potential for a Proxy, but I don't think he's going to see this. This is very far out, and this is something that can happen on these new maps, is the Proxy locations, they aren't necessarily explored just yet.
Yeah, and Cure is just this player who is so good. I mean, I had it in my head. I didn't even think to say it. It's going to be Proxy Marauders. That is actually going to be so cool, especially against, I don't know if Harstem has been opening like Sentry or Adept or something, but especially against openers like that. I mean, you don't fight the Marauders. They get so much damage, but here's the Scout. It's only single gas, not double, and there's nothing in the main base. So Harstem knows something's up. The question, though, what exactly is it?
Yeah, it's going to be tough to figure out. Dropping the pylon on the low ground, that means he is pretty much committed to defending that low ground. Now, if he figures out quickly, went for a fast Stargate, that would be quite good. Adept is decent against this because it doesn't take bonus damage to the Marauder, but it also gets slowed, which means it has a tricky time dealing with this. Now, something that is a big deal about this, probes are going to be much better against this kind of play, but only if they can actually get on top of the Marauder. Now, here we go. We got this first push coming on in. The 2 SCV is going to be handy here for Cure. Big probe pull coming on in for Harstem. He's got a backup pylon. Already getting a decent amount of damage onto one of these Marauders, but he has lost 1 probe, and he's going to lose another most likely. Cure still target firing the pylon. Bit of a weird choice. Bit of a miss micro, too. He actually kind of stutter steps a little bit. He's going to lose both SCVs. I like this so far for Harstem very much.
Yeah, so he loses the forward pylon, but he does have that one at the back. So now Adepts are getting healed up, and now, well, the Marauders, they're going to target that down. But first, a Marauder is dead. Thing we got to point out here, though, Steadfast, as the shield battery falls, is the fact that this is double tech lab. So there are going to be a lot more Marauders here that Harstem might be anticipating, but another Marauder now starts to fall. And here comes the Stalker. Now, they are good and they are bad. They take more damage, but they also do more. So the Marauders, they run forward. Stalker will continue to fall, but the probes, they're not going down with all that alacrity just yet. But now, here's the problem, Steadfast. All the defensive units are dead. It's just probes. It's just a pylon, just a shield battery, and it's going to be just GG. Cure, a bit of a weird game, takes game 1.
Yeah, when I said I thought it was good for Harstem, I thought he was going to keep pulling probes. However, he didn't. He didn't keep pulling probes when he had the shield battery. If he pulls probes and drops a battery overcharge, Cure can't approach that shield battery. He cannot, because if he attacks it, the probes surround, they lock on, they grab those Marauders, they kill them all. Unfortunately, I don't know that Harstem really, I don't think he was expecting the reinforcing Marauders to get there that quickly, because he was not prepared for that in the slightest towards for like the 4th, 5th, 6th Marauder.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is, so he scouted single gas, which is the Proxy Marauder tell. Often if you're going Proxy Reaper, it's double gas. But Cure managed to squeak out not only Proxy Marauder, it was 2 Tech Lab Proxy Marauder. Often that's just 1 barracks, and you just go and you put pressure on, you go from there. So I don't think he was anticipating just the amount of Marauders that Cure had, both by having 2 barracks and also by continuing to produce them as he did. And that really was the downside. But you know, it's good. This is a best of 3. It's not just a best of 1. I mean, I think if I'm Harstem here, I kind of wish it was a best of 5. But the point is, you know, there's another game. He's going to have another shot. Royal Blood is going to be that second map. And Steadfast in PvT. Oh, okay, if it's going to be Proxy Double Marauder again, map won't matter all that much maybe. But assuming this game goes a little more standard, what are your thoughts? And anything interesting about Royal Blood?
I mean, there's lots of things interesting about Royal Blood that we can talk about when we get into the game. But to be honest, I think that was just a bit of a brain fart from Harstem, because when you do see that it's single gas, it really, off the Marauder, it really can only be the one or sorry, the double proxy barracks. Like it can't really be just the one barracks. It usually has to be two. So yeah, a little bit of a brain fart from Harstem. Hopefully he can, shake it off and get back into it. But we're gonna see. We'll talk about the map a little bit as we get into it. Royal Blood, let's go.
All right, folks, here we are in the upper right. In the blue, is the captain gonna sink or is he gonna move on? It's Harstem.
And his opponent, spawning down in the bottom left for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It is the Red Terran player, Cure. And you know what? We gotta say, the Korean players, they come prepared. They are so bloodthirsty in these matchups. They are not afraid to do things that are off kilter, that are, the European players tend to sometimes look down their nose at a little bit more. They're like, oh, well, that's a risky, coin flippy, greedy play. And it's like, yeah, but it throws you off your game. It's a high risk, high reward play. And the thing that makes it quote unquote bad, which it's obviously not, because Cure won the game with it in game number 1, is what makes it so good, is that your opponent is just not expecting it. So Harstem, he obviously wasn't expecting it. Now he sees nothing in the main base. He's going to be like, oh no, you've only got one gas. Now this looks like the exact same build. This is brilliant series preparation out of Cure. And it's a fake proxy with a Marine. I love this so much. However, Harstem, oh, actually, well, hang on. It's almost worse that he doesn't see this command center go up, but now he sees the Marine, now he sees the command center, and now he knows that, yeah, this is pretty normal. However, this is going to turn into a Marauder opening, is it? Oh, that's so weird. I love it.
So when Gumiho came back from the military, what, like a year ago-ish, little more, this is how he was opening. Well, maybe not quite like this, but he was opening a lot of his TVPs with Marauders at home, concussive shells at home to try to catch the first couple units on the map. But that's not quite what we see, though. Yes, there's concussive shells on the way, but this is gonna turn into a 3-racks. This is pretty cool here.
Yeah, Cure is so good with this 3-racks play. And if you ever tune in to Rotterdam's stream, Rotterdam loves his Phoenixes. He loves his Stargate play. What does he hate the most? He hates the 3-racks so much. Now that's not to say it's a guaranteed loss. By the way, very nice. Adept finds the SCV. I'm actually going to delay this command center pretty significantly. But it just means it's very uncomfortable to play. It's very uncomfortable to play Stargate against the 3-racks.
Yeah, but Steadfast, the big scout here, he didn't see the barracks on the low ground, but he did see the Marauders, right? He is aware that a Marauder has been made, which he also knows that was not the first unit out, right? Marine tagged the Adept. So, process of elimination here. Marauders are on the map. That's not normal. He's not necessarily going to know that it is a 3-racks, but he will know that, okay, there's something interesting coming out of barracks. And on top of that, because this is Marauders out of the 3-racks, not just pure Marine, any sort of Oracle opening Phoenix, whatever, is going to be better because there is just less production out of a 3-racks than your kind of typical one where you are, you're building pure Marines out of everything. In fact, yeah, it's going to be 2 Marines, 2 Marauders at a time. More punchiness on the ground, but Phoenix and Oracles, they can deal with this much better.
Yeah, we're going to see how much Harstem commits to the air units. It won't be like 5, 6, 7 Phoenixes. It's going to be Oracles into the Robo. Now, Harstem will scout this. He sees now the barracks positioning. He's going to confirm the 3rd barracks in a moment, and that's great information for him. He's even going to see that there's a missile turret here. Nice quick pull from Cure. Saves that SEV. Very nicely done. But getting the information, confirming 100% that it's a 3-racks, that's going to let Harstem chrono boost out a quick immortal. He's going to get another gateway at the front. We might even see an extra shield battery in the back. This is still going to be dangerous with the stim and combat shields closing in pretty quickly. But I think Harstem has all the tools he's going to need to defend this without taking too much damage.
It's funny. I kind of expected to see Cure go and adapt from being scouted. Immediate factory go down, something like that, or run across the map. But we don't really see either, and this does buy Harstem a little bit of time. Stasis doesn't get much, of course, but now, yeah, we are going to see Immortals on the way. They are getting chronoed out. It's not going to be ready for the first hold, though, I don't think, because here comes Cure. Combat shields are done. Stim is done, and Steadfast, Oracles are on the other side of the map. So it's all down to sentries, to delay, to buy time for this Immortal to pop out. It's got like 2 seconds remaining here, but here comes the Biostim again. Force Field's gonna be really nice here at the start, but here's the thing. There's a shield battery. It's gonna go down. The pylon's gonna go down. Immortal's here now, but the question is though, is one Immortal by itself gonna be enough? The Oracles, they're not there. Probes are gonna have to get pulled into the main base, and this tiny little bit of something that Harstem, he saw a while ago, is getting a lot of damage done. In fact, at the end of the day, as the workers will fall, he's just targeting workers down. It doesn't really matter anymore that this army in the main base will fall because he's caught 7 probes, and the Oracle by itself, it cannot really fight. Harstem though, a little bit more time, more depths, more sentries warping in. The sentry, the force field though, the bile, they just get right on top of that. Here comes again Marines into the natural. 9 workers have fallen, 11 here, and Cure is just doing game-breaking damage. Yeah, there's an Immortal, but Cure is up on workers against a Protoss player. That's not where you ever want to be.
No, it's certainly not as the Protoss. Now, we have to say the tech for Harstem is very good. He's about to have his first Colossus coming out, and the starport just finished. But it is still an extremely uncomfortable position here for the captain. Now, we're going to be seeing a 5 racks follow-up from this, from Cure. I actually think I would have much preferred a... I think I would have much preferred a 3rd command center behind this because he's gotten good economic damage, but he's traded away quite a few units for it. Now, Harstem, he is going to try and take advantage of the fact that it's Colossus versus mostly Marines, and I love this actually because the Immortal's going to help against the Marauders. I actually think this is a great decision from Harstem. He's got to be careful about not overextending. If he could have forced a stim, that would have been so nice, but he's just going to back away now. He's going to chill a little bit. He takes his own 3rd Nexus, and Harstem, he's on the back foot. But look at this. He's forced out Vikings. The medevacs are not going to move forward just yet. Good revelations here with this one Oracle, keeping tabs on everything. Oh, I do love this, by the way, from Cure. He checks and sees, hey, is the army still here? And that might trigger him to go for a drop, but he can't. Harstem's got tags on everything.
And that forcing those Vikings out, it's okay. Yes, they are better, and I think we're actually going to start to see more Vikings in TVP in this tournament, considering how much more microable they are. But you're right, they're not medevacs. They don't keep armies safe. They don't allow you to save units. They don't allow you to heal armies up. So over time, any stim, any damage that Harstem gets, it is going to be that much more impactful. And look at what Harstem's doing. He knows that well, I don't know that he knows that it's Viking play, but he's building late Phoenix off of this. Again, there's no Twilight. He's adding a 2nd Stargate plus 1 air. He's going to commit pretty hard to this Phoenix play, and this is so cool. Now, there's going to be a scary timing before the Phoenix are ready, and the Viking counts may be a little too high for the Colossus, but if he can get past that, he's going to have a very powerful army here. But, well, I don't know if Cure's going to give him that time, because drop in the main base, 1 Zealot warps in, does not have charge, only really 2 Phoenix. That's a problem in and of itself, and now Cure back into the natural is going to try to find something, but 1 Colossus should handle this for the most part here. Cure splitting against that, and Cure, well, is he going to get the Colossus or not? But the Phoenix doesn't look like it. But in the front, though, Guardian Shield does get popped, and, well, Shield Battery overcharge keeps things alive for right now, but Steadfast, there's no anti-air. The Colossus, they're just free firing, and no sentries don't count. So Cure getting pot shots, getting as much damage as he can. Only gets 3 workers in the main base. With this push at the front, well, Steadfast, the counts of everything are not there yet, but they will be soon.
Yeah, exactly. It is a razor's edge moment here. There's a big army supply lead for Cure, but he has not yet won this game. Not by any stretch. The revelations have been great. Disruptor shot coming on in. Gets a nice connection on the front line of Bio. And I think, yeah, Harstem can absolutely pick this fight now. Cure realizing he has to disengage here. Harstem just going to wait for his Disruptor here. He says, okay, I think I've pushed the army back. Actually, does he have... No, he doesn't have vision. But he's going to just wait for this Purification Nova, clears out this mine. I am so impressed with Harstem right here. He was really in dire straits, and he is still in a tough position, but he is fighting on so valiantly and so well.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Widowmine gets the probe, but actually, it's nice now because the probe is going to know that it's going to buy time for that natural to never even get started. It's not going to go down. And now Harstem tries to run down the ramp. Disruptor shot, not going to find what it wants. Also, not really getting, right, the Widowmine there, denying the 4th. For the Phoenix on the other side, what are they going to find? Too many Marines right now. They're not going to get that. But look at this, Harstem. He's on 3 base. He's got double Stargate, right? So, hey, get more Phoenix. Fleet Beacon's almost done. This could be for Andean Pulse Crystals. That's a really cool idea that you can sometimes go for. Or he's just going to go into carriers, but certainly he's not going to get his 4th base because, well, Cure will find that one. And that is kind of one of the downsides here. You're a little bit snowballing with this army. You have to keep it together, harder to get that 4th base. But it's also not an army right now that Kjær can really seem to fight. There's just too many answers to the answers to the Colossus.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I think that even though it didn't seem like Harstem got much, getting the revelation on the entirety of that army, it gave Harstem so much mental security. It let him know the size of that army, it was too big for there to be any dropout on the map, so he knew that he was able to push out and kind of just be safe and didn't have to scramble to get his Phoenixes into a position to deal with a drop. I gotta say, Harstem is playing this out very well. Now, Kjær is still in a lead. He's got 1-1. He's getting into his 2-2. That 2-2 time, that 2-2 timing is going to be extremely scary. He's gonna have Ghost. He's gonna have a big Viking count. Well, actually, no, he's not gonna have that big of a Viking count. Oh, he's only on 2 Vikings right now. I thought he was on more, but there's this carrier transition coming in from Harstem. He's gonna have +2 air weapons. It's gonna be close and will depend on a couple of chrono boosts. But if he gets +2 air weapons in time for this this big attack, oh, the Ghost! Oh, that's a huge find!
Yeah, 2 Ghosts.
That is a massive pickoff.
There are still 4 on the map, Steadfast. And remember, while they will not have that late game upgrade, right now they are stronger than they normally would be. But the Phoenix, right, they are hard countered by Ghosts. You just can't get lifts anymore. So anything you can do to make Phoenix find value at this point is absolutely massive. And now we see Kjær cannot push into the 4th base. Harstem has that secured. And this run by on the right side is trying to find Harstem's 5th that doesn't exist. With the Phoenix there, with the cannons, it's not really going to be able to find the value it wants. And what a great revelation. Those Widow Mines were so far apart, and he got both of them. So now he has activity. He can be on the right side of the map. Here, Kjær runs in, but 2 Colossus, Disruptor, doesn't matter. And now the Phoenix are about to get stronger too. They can fight in the air with that Andean Pulse Crystals. They share range. They can knock down Widow Mines a little, or Medevacs a little bit easier. This army from Harstem is rapidly approaching critical mass.
It is, but it's not quite there yet, and Kjær is looking for the timing. He's actually getting into the, wow, look at this, the fusion core. He's getting 4 more command centers. Normally, I would say this is absolutely for Liberators, and it probably still is. But with another starport coming down, no, never mind, they're all reacted. I was like, is it going to be these? No, it's going to be ranged Liberators. It's going to be what we expect. Kjær still in a great position economically. He is still doing well in this game. But as you said, Harstem is rapidly approaching that critical mass point. Now, we are going to see how the new carriers interact. Vikings will be better against them in the sense that they will automatically target the carriers as opposed to the interceptors. But the interceptors kill those Vikings so damn quick, especially with +2 air upgrades against no armor on the Vikings.
Yeah, and it also does kind of invalidate. There was a style you could go for where you get like 13 Liberators, and then it would one-shot a bunch of interceptors all at once. That's not really possible anymore because you can't target the interceptors and the carriers aren't there. So while I don't necessarily think that was the plan, right? It's going to be for Vikings. Often in these late game states, you do want a lot of Liberators because then they allow you to control the ground, and that's a nice secondary utility that's not there anymore. So +2 air is done, +3 on the way. We're getting armor and everything else. But the downside of this army is a disruptor shot is not going to land. Kjær has a lot more agency on the map. He can multitask a lot better here. So yeah, he can't fight the army straight up, and losing those Vikings actually a little bit punishing, painful. It does mean that he does have the ability to deny Harstem from his 5th base for so long at this point.
He does, but if Harstem just pushes him with, we've got 7 carriers right now, 8 carriers and another one about to pop. He's getting the mothership. He's getting +3 air weapons. Harstem might actually just run him over with a one-punch man style army. We can see a bunch of static defense coming down at the 4th base location. Harstem, yeah, I think this is his timing. I think he's just going. And you know what? I don't know how Kjær can hold this oh, hang on. If he finds the Colossus, that's big. Ooh, 2 of the Colossus going to go down, but it will be a lot of the bio falling. Pretty much all of the bio on this left side. And now Harstem says, okay, where's your army on the right? I know you're looking for something. Ooh, Ghost, can he get the lift? No, it's the EMP landing first. Okay, Harstem got, well, they both got a bit of a bloody nose. Harstem did lose a lot of power units, but the carrier count is still intact.
Yeah, and Steadfast, the key thing here is, well, the Oracle went down, so Harstem's not going to have that really nice ability to see exactly where Kjær is and set up his fight ahead of time. And now the Vikings, they run forward. Dead airspace here. There's no Archons. There's no splash damage. It's just carriers versus Vikings. is the upgrade advantage enough, or is the upgrade position enough here? It looks like for right now it will be, as not too many carriers have gone down. It was 2 of them, but it was 10 Vikings, and this might allow Harstem to start moving forward. Now Phoenix going to start to join the fray, but you need to add the carriers as well. They can't fight by themselves, but now there's a cloak. Now the carriers are going to run forward, and again, remember, the interceptors, they can't really fight, but off the top side, there we go, the EMPs, and that will force Harstem back here, I would think, but no, he's still taking the fight, and the Viking count steadfast, it's down to 6, most of them not with this army anymore. Harstem, well, the scans are going to run out at some point, and that's going to be Harstem's timing, but for right now, he's got to back up. Not quite the value he was looking for. Losing those Colossus, it kind of made it a little bit harder about where he could take the fight, and then he had no way to deal with what was on the ground. Those EMPs were massive, and now Harstem, instead of that game-breaking move you were looking for, he's got to go take his 5th base. He's got to back up, go again, and this buys Cure time to go active, get active on the map once again.
Yeah, and Cure's economy has been outstanding during all of this. He's now securing a 6th base. Oh, we got a nuke on the top side. That's cute. It's not going to do anything because the cannons are so far forward, but a very cute attempt. I love the concept, especially against mass cannon like this. If he was a little bit further back, maybe that does land. Okay, a couple of great moves. So, Cure, he's on 4 starport reactored Viking Liberator, which means he is pumping these units. Liberator's great against the interceptors, but I wonder how they interact with a new carrier. I love that Harstem, though, is going 4 Phoenixes at a time right now. He's recognized his opponent is committing to air. This is a huge showdown here. Liberators, they're not going to be, well, they're going to be going into their anti-ground mode here. Their defender mode. Battery overcharge does get popped. Nexus not going to fall. And with the battery overcharge, that is going to discourage Cure from fighting here. And I think that's the right call. But I do like these turrets in the middle of the map.
Oh, yeah, this hard push coming in from Cure. Shades of old school TVB, shades of Brood War here, and look at what Harstem's trying to do. He's trying to break the rocks down and give himself different angles to get his disruptors into the fight. So for now, we're gonna see Widowmine. Oh, it goes off at the last second. That's a lot of anti-shields. And now here we go, Harstem trying to take the fight, but with the ghosts and with the Vikings and with everything else that is here, it is so hard to actually go in and do anything to try to take a fight. So yeah, you know, he knocks down the Vikings, but there's so many ghosts on the ground that he does have to back up. Interceptor count gets reset even with the change. If you fight with the carriers are not in range, the interceptors will still go down. So Harstem doesn't have as much fighting force of those carriers right now, but he's taking the back seat that Cure has taken to get those Vikings to unlock a lot of the rocks on this map and now allow his disruptors to move in from different angles.
Well, I like this very much from Harstem too. He's exactly knocking down these rocks, not just to let his disruptors come in from different angles, but to avoid these turrets. He can just move around them. Takes out 2 of them with that disruptor setup right there. 7, 8 Vikings coming in at a time. This is a pure air army, but the upgrades for Harstem are so much better. Oh, we are going to see a fight breaking on out here. Big EMPs on the army, but the Viking count is getting shredded. Harstem is killing them so quickly with those carriers and Phoenixes. And every time it feels like no carriers go down and it's just interceptors.
And all that matters, right, is those Vikings. What is it? It's 14 Marines. I mean, ghosts are good, sure, but it's not a lot of anti-air on the ground. It is all about those Vikings and I guess the Liberators to allow you to take that fight. And when you don't have those, you got to back up. You got to go again. But the other scary thing we were talking about here is how much agency, how much more map control Cure can technically have with his bio that can run around the map. So he gets in, 20 workers go down. And at this point, like, this is Harstem's only true healthy base. The 4th base, the 3rd base, they got 4 mineral patches. I guess the 4th base is a little bit more, but not really a ton. So Harstem now, he moves out on the map once again, trying to take advantage of the lacking Viking count, at least in this location. There are 18 on the map, there are none here, and this will be a dead base from Cure. Harstem just got into too good of a position, but it looks like it's going to be a base for a base, and this will favor Cure with that bottom side base that he still has.
It will if he can win the fight, if he can survive. These interceptors are out in huge numbers. They're killing the Vikings so quickly as they pop out. Disruptor zoning out the ghost, pushing them back. We do see a defensive nuke. This is a desperation move if ever there was one. If Harstem gets in on top of the production, it's all ogre, and it might be anyways. We've got 9 Vikings to 11 carriers and 10 Phoenix. I think Harstem's done it here in game number 2.
Oh no, it looks like he has. The run by is still getting damage done, right? The 5th base fell, but there are still it's still there, finding value onto the 3rd, but Steadfast, you're right. It doesn't matter how bad the economy is if the Terran can't build a damn thing. So now here we go. Harstem into the main. Ghost coming in from the right side. Massive EMPs go down pretty much on top of this entire army, but not quite enough. And, well, at this point, it's just the air, right? It's just the Vikings. It's just the Liberators. Couple Ghosts on the left side. But Kure just cannot bring his army to bear. Not into the main base. And so at this point, if Kure can stabilize, if he can get some of his production out, he's got a shot. His economy is so much better. But will he be able to, right? These are +3 carriers.
Yeah, they're 3-1 carriers versus 2-0 Viking Liberator. We're seeing so many of the air units getting knocked out. There's only 2 Vikings and 1 Liberator, making 0 Liberators left. We are going to game 3. The production is camped. Kure is huffing weapons-grade copium right now, but it is not going to change the fact that he is dead and dusted in this game number 2. Harstem makes it happen with the sky toss. He says, carriers nerfed? Nah, carriers Harstemed.
Harstem, in fact. So now last fight here, can Kure make something happen? Disruptor, it's not going to get a lot. Second shot, well, okay, big EMPs there, and you still have to be so careful. Despite everything else, the army on the ground, if they get the right EMPs, if they're able to get an interceptor here and there, it's maybe. But for now, Disruptors, they're just zoning everything out. We're going to see this planetary go down eventually. Kure only has so much money.
It's got +2 building armor. That thing's living forever.
Fair enough.
It doesn't die. Oh my God, they're immortal. Obviously, he could have targeted down the SCVs, but he just needs to not take a horrendous fight. And well, this is not a horrendous fight. This is going to be the game-clinching fight here. The Ghosts, they can EMP, they do big damage, but they do not kill those carriers. All they do is whittle down the interceptors. Now, there is only 57 interceptors here, or well, actually has 62, 63, 64. Yeah, never mind. Well, there's no amount of interceptors that he can kill at this point. That's gonna give Kure a chance here. Harstem's got him.
The big deal, I guess, Kure's trying to get his production. That's not going to happen. There's only one observer on the map. There are no oracles, so the Ghosts were able to cloak up and, you know, they can kill some interceptors before they go down, but it's not going to work out. You need more than... Ghosts are powerful units, Steadfast, but you need more than 6 of them to try to win a game, and now here comes that last detection. Kure is... he thinks it's summer, and he's going camping. But that's not going to happen. It's the middle of winter here in Katowice, and, well, if you go camping like that, you're probably going to freeze. Harstem, though, seems like he's well prepared to freeze Kure out of this game. 63 supply is all that remain. The last planetary will fall. Ghosts are doing what they can, but, yeah, Steadfast. The question at this point, what is Kure thinking about that he's going to do in game 3?
That is a good question, because he got a pretty amazing start. He didn't get a game-winning start, but he got a almost game-winning start. He got about as close as you can... Oh, sorry about that. He got about as close as you can realistically ask for to a game-winning start. And Harstem was able to still shut him down, stay alive, come back, and bludgeon him with that Sky Fleet. So at this point, Kure might be thinking, I got to cheese him again.
Yeah, absolutely. But for now, we just get to figure out what's going to happen in that game number 3, right? Yeah, maybe the cheese you're talking about. It will be Dragon Scales for that third map, which is, again, a map that is, well, you know, maybe not quite as big as like Ancient Cistern we got in game number 1, but it's actually got some really cool ideas. It's got some good tank positions, maybe. It has a wide open third base. It is a map where we've seen Kure a lot recently run across the map with like a 6 minute 30 type of stim timing. Where you just run across the map, you kill everything. Because of the shield battery change, because of everything that has happened, it becomes even harder for the Terran to defend. Or for the Protoss to defend. So maybe we're going to see something like that. Again, it's been in Kure's wheelhouse over the last month or so, pretty much ever since we started playing on the new patch.
Yeah, he's Kure, I mean, Kure's TVP is just so solid. So the fact that Harstem was able to make that happen, I'm so hung up on that game, because the fact that he was able to survive so many timings, and I really think that 2 Ghost pickoff he got actually played a huge factor in him being able to survive, because just the fact that it meant that Cure wasn't able to win fights consistently on both sides, it just bought Harstem so much time. And I don't know. I'm really excited now for game number 3.
All right, let's see what they have in store for us. Epic late game, crazy builds. I don't know. But Dragon Scales is that third map. And folks, in the upper left here, he is the odds-on favorite to qualify out of this bottom side of the upper bracket. He is Cure.
And his opponent, spawning down in the bottom right for the Shopify Rebellion, fighting back hard and showing his true grit. It is Harstem.
And, you know, Steadfast, I was worried in that game number 2 when Harstem goes for the push and you're like, okay, he's got to do something here, right? His fourth base is just never happening. I was getting a little worried. I thought we were going to, when the Colossus went down, it's like, okay, he can't make the push happen anymore. But then he strung it out, and plus the big carriers, they're pretty good, even with the new Viking change, which, by the way, should favor the Viking more in that engagement. You have the ability to move in, get a shot off, and run away even faster before the interceptors start to join the fight a little more. But the big thing we didn't see out of Cure in that game number 2 that I would have liked to see is take advantage of the immobility of Harstem's army. You know, he had a drop at the very end and it got something, but he never took advantage of how unlocked the map was for him. And I guess in fairness though, that's not the type of player that Cure is. He is a strong macro player. He has good timings, has great builds, plays an incredible late game, but he's not one of these multitasking gods that we think of.
I kind of think of him as that in TVP a little bit, but he's got to turn it on. He's got to find that gear, you know? He's got to get up to it. What I'm actually wish we would have seen out of Cure, because he had a fantastic economy, he needed to get a second armory, 100%. The fact that he didn't get a second armory is, I mean, very surprising and extremely disappointing, because when you go mass air, the Vikings, they melt so quick to those carriers. The carriers benefit an unbelievable amount from having an upgrade advantage, since they shoot twice and they shoot so fast. If you are facing +3 carriers, as someone who has gone up against carriers with Hydralisks more times than I can count, units like that die so fast when they are out upgraded, and it's the kind of thing that you can't really deal with. Now, as we get into this game number 3, that may all be a moot point moving forward, but it's looking like a much more standard setup so far. We did see Cure going for a double gas opener, and Harstem, did he shade? Yeah, he shaded back. Okay. It's going to be a double gas opener out of Cure, and Harstem didn't confirm the expansion. He got blocked. We will see, the Adept. Okay, I was going to say, he's not going to shade back, is he? No, it looks like he was just preparing. Actually, I'm not sure, because he went 3 Adept. Will be Phoenixes, by the way, and it's going to be a Ryung opener. I'm sure you can talk about that a little bit. Neat that we're seeing it in Katowice a year after, it got its popularity.
Yeah, no, it's so cool, right? You see this build that dominated last year. It knocked out every Protoss out of Katowice, which was fantastic. Or not if you're a Protoss player, I guess. But to see it again, and this is actually what I was talking about when we started the series. You're hitting these timings a minute faster than the archetypical 3-1-1. You hit it 7:30 as you take your third base, whatever you want. These hit a little bit faster. And because Protoss defensive tools in the early game, as the Phoenix will now get scouted by Cure, right, by killing that Reaper. Because the Protoss defensive tools have been nerfed a little bit, right? Shield batteries are not as strong. Is really the big one. It makes that push even stronger. But the question, though, Steadfast, is how is it going to handle this Phoenix opener? There are 2 ways it can go, right? One hand, Phoenix maybe not the best against early Marine pressure, but if you can get a bunch of stuff on the ground, if you can maybe get a Twilight, which we don't see just yet, but if you can move into something like that, then the Phoenix lift the tank, so the charge lets kill everything else. It's great. Question, though, whether Harstem identifies that and starts to move into that early game Phoenix progression rather than the mid game Phoenix progression.
Well, I think that all of that might be a bit of a moot point because this is not the Ryung opener that we're used to. This is actually no starport. This is a big commitment. I think we're even going to see SCVs pulled with this. This is a huge Stim Combat Shields Marine tank push. And so far, Harstem, he has not gotten far enough into the main base to figure that out. He is building the Twilight Council and a Forge. Those are not going to be up in time. They are not going to be relevant to this game. And this looks... oh, this looks like we could see a big blindside coming out here. And if you can siege tanks at the natural of the Protoss player, it is going to be so difficult to deal with. Harstem, he needs to identify what's going on, and he's got no idea at the moment. But he does start the charge. That is what he needs. He needs to buy time for it, though, as well. And that's going to be a difficult task.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Phoenix do a lot. They invalidate a lot of the tech. They can lift tanks, they can lift Marauders, and look at what Harstem's doing, scouting around the edges, trying to see if he can pick off a Marauder or a tank, maybe get something on the rally, and that is already forcing Kira to be a little slower on the other side of the map. Here we go. Couple Marines. They're not the big thing. Oh, we can get a tank. There we go. That's going to be very nice so long as he can defend the initial set of pressure, which is, of course, the scariest thing. So here comes the army moving forward. 3 tanks are now set up, and 3 tanks, by the way, much more powerful than they otherwise were because of the shield battery overcharge change. Probe Zealots, they're going to try to get on top of this tank. Not a single one will go down. And now with the bunkers getting set up, that might be a little bit scary, but here come the Phoenix, and they're gonna run right on top of the Marines. They're lifting whatever they can, but they're just gonna fall all right down, and Harstem does not have what he needs. He did not have the scout, he did not have the information, and he certainly did not have the setup. Harstem made us believe in that second game, but at the end of the day, these cure pushes, far too deadly